We're going to go through the Sci-Fireplace book by book and decide what is going into storage and what is going to be up for sale. I am moving out of this apartment to travel the world. So the background of these videos is going to change pretty dramatically. You will see the Sci-Fireplace one more time because I just shot a review video that's going to be published after this one. So you're not saying goodbye just yet, and in that video I give the full backstory of why I'm going and where I'm going. The Players of Null A by Van Vogt. Really nice copy of this, and before I even knew that this was an important book, historically important, I wanted to read it. This was a standout. In fact, I almost picked this for my last read, but I didn't. So that is going to go into storage. That is staying with me. The Seedling Stars by James Blish. One of his important books. This one I will keep for sure. Here's a rare one. It's a Lynn Carter book with a gorgeous cover. The Valley Where Time Stood Still. How could this not be good? You know what? I'm going to crank this up just a notch to ruin the ambiance and to give you a better view. Beautiful book. I'm keeping it. Back into its mylar sleeve. It goes. Dahlgren by Delaney. Keeping it. China Mountain Zhang by Maureen F. McHugh. Only time I've ever come across this book. So I'm going to hang on to that one. Dune Messiah, Frank Herbert. I'm going to sell. The books that I am selling, I'm not selling because I don't think that they're good or I'm not interested in reading them. It's because I need to cut down as much as possible, or I want to cut down as much as possible rather, and I know that I'm going to be able to find copies of those books again, or they're of secondary interest. Not that I'm not interested in them, but I'm not acutely interested in them. Quest of the Three Worlds by Cordwainer Smith, with one of the all-timer covers. And it's a rare Cordwainer Smith in excellent condition, so I'm keeping that one. Witch World by Andre Norton. Probably her most famous book in the paperback. I'm going to sell this one. Tatya Grimm's World by Werner Vinge. I'm going to sell it. 2312 by Kim Stanley Robinson, a writer that I really like and respect, but contemporary mass market. I will sell it. Children of Dune by Herbert. I will sell. The auction will be coming up soon. There will be a pinned comment with date and time. God Emperor of Dune with the quote-unquote bell end cover. That one I will sell. A fairly not common copy of Dune. This is a UK. Fairly nice condition. I'm going to sell this one too. If you're tearing your hair out, wait until you see the copy of Dune that I'm keeping. Heads by Greg Bear. Keeping. Great copy of Triton in that same aesthetic as Dahlgren. This is my favorite. Delaney aesthetic, hashtag aesthetic, also titled Trouble on Triton. The Toynbee Convector by Ray Bradbury, a short story collection. I will sell. Protector by Larry Niven. Reviewed this on the channel. It was okay. I will sell it. A World Out of Time by Niven. The cat cover. I shall sell. All the Myriad Ways by Larry Niven. I will sell. A Gift from Earth by Larry Niven. I will sell. Time of the Great Freeze by Silverberg. One that I don't think I've ever heard mentioned. Keeping it. The Snow Queen by Joan Vinge. The teal text block, I'm going to sell it. Blood of Amber by this fella. Selling it. The Last Defender of Camelot by Zelazny with this kick-ass cover. That is awesome. That is an amazing cover. Man, I gotta keep that one. I gotta keep it. I have so many Zelaznys, but I'm gonna keep that one. Fire Time by Poul Anderson. Book Club edition. Great cover. I will sell. Cage a Man by F.M. Busby with the lobster. I forgot that I had this. I saw this book, I think the same trip that I picked up that book club hardcover of The World Inside by Silverberg, which is a formative day. And I think I saw this same book there and I should have gotten it. It's always stuck in my memory, so I'm going to hang on to that one. A Night of Ghosts and Shadows by Poul Anderson in the book club. I'll sell that one. The Man Who Lived in Inner Space by Arnold Federbush. I think has one of the most beautiful covers that I've seen on a science fiction book. Don't really know anything about the book itself, but I'm going to keep that one. The Nomad of Time by Moorcock. I will keep for sure. That's a book club. Here is the copy of Dune that I am keeping. Dune by Frank Herbert. This was in a video, a haul video of Yore, and I didn't know at the time what the story was because it has Chinese. So these are bootleg Taiwanese. Well, I say these. This one. I gave the other ones that I had away to someone. I had two more of them, but I hung on to this one because it's extraordinarily rare. And I have no idea what it's worth. I think they're pretty collectible. When I looked it up, there were no other comparable books on eBay. I couldn't find anything online, so this is probably a truly rare book. The Faded Sun, Kesrith by C.J. Cherry. I've always thought that the cover was really beautiful. It is a book club edition. Not a particularly rare book, so I will sell it. Triplicity by Thomas Dish. I think this is 3 books. I'm keeping this one. Echo Round His Bones, The Genocides, and The Puppies of Terra. Okay, so I have 2 copies of The Genocides now. Mad Ones by Zelazny and the book club. I will sell. Herbert, Frank or Frankie, The Orchid Cage. I think it's from the... Well, I wanted to say the 30s, but I guess it isn't. 1973. But a great cover, and I'm a sucker for a great cover. I'm going to keep it. The Sands of Mars by Clark. I will sell. M33 in Andromeda by A.E. Van Vogt. I will sell. A Night in the Lonesome October by Zelazny. This was a gift from Bob's Books, so I will keep it. Thank you, Bob. The Dear Dear by Jack Vance in a UK paperback edition. Love the cover. I have the entirety of this series in matching paperbacks. So tentatively, I'm going to sell this one because it will be redundant. There's an asterisk on that one. Project Pendulum by Silverberg. Not a very common one. I think I've only found it twice. So I'm going to keep that. Beautiful Chris Foss cover, Fallen Star by James Blish, which matches nicely with my copy of Case of Conscience. Yeah, keeping that one, absolutely. The World of Null A, which is the sequel to The Player of Null A, or Players of Null A, keeping that one for sure. Dragonflight by Anne McCaffrey, the first of the Parn books. I will sell. Stochastic Man by Silverberg. I think most of my Silverbergs lived on the Sci-Fireplace. Keeping it. My copy of Dying Inside, I am keeping. Mirror Shades, the very important cyberpunk anthology, I will keep. The Star Diaries by Lem, a very celebrated Lem that gets recommended to me a lot with the Stanislav Fernandez cover, which I love. Absolutely keeping it. A somewhat brittle copy of Strange Wine by Ellison, which is certainly not easy to come by. It is a little bit messed up, but yeah, I'm going to keep that one. Brack the Barbarian by John Jakes. I think that's a Frazetta cover. I'm going to sell it. Mention My Name in Atlantis by John Jakes with the crazy cover. I'm going to keep this one. That's supposed to be actually an important book, I think. Age of Miracles by John Brunner. I've always loved that cover. And this came from an important book haul from a Salvation Army that helped launch the channel. So I think I'm going to keep that one. Jagged Orbit and Daw. This is in the same universe as Sheep Look Up and Zanzibar. I think this is a direct sequel to Stand on Zanzibar, if I'm not mistaken. Definitely keeping. The Best of Eric Frank Russell. I know absolutely nothing about him. I'm going to sell it. The Reefs of Space by Paul and Williamson. Beautiful cover. This is volume 1 of the Star Child trilogy, and I think I have volume 2 somewhere up there. Beautiful book. I'm going to sell it. Vintage copy of Dandelion Wine. I will sell. Something About Eve by James Branch Cabell. An important and largely forgotten fantasy writer. The Seed of Earth by Robert Silverberg. One of his best covers. Keeping it. The Swords Trilogy by Michael Moorcock. Keeping for sure. The Many Worlds of Magnus Ridolf by Jack Vance. Tattery copy that I found at the bottom of a box in a thrift store. I'm going to keep it. UK paperback of The Diamond Age by Neil Stevenson. Selling it. Mass Market of On the Beach by Neville Shute. Very famous post-apocalyptic book. I will sell. My copy of Blood Music. I am absolutely keeping it. Got that for $1. Greg Egan, Schild's Ladder. This is supposed to be one of his more difficult books, which is, I think, saying something for Greg Egan. He's regarded as the hardest hard SF writer out there. I'm going to sell it. Courts of Chaos by Zelazny. I think this is, yeah, an Amber book. I will sell. Evelyn E. Smith's Unpopular Planet. A title that makes me laugh every time I see the spine. I'm going to keep for sure. Dimension 13 by Silverberg. I just don't really want to let any more of these Silverbergs go, so I'm going to keep it. Grass by Sherry Tepper. It's supposed to be a great book. I will sell. Tarzan of the Apes by Burroughs. I'll sell. I'm putting the beanie on because the hair is just unmanageable. I am probably going to sell this. The Dancer from Atlantis, Paul Anderson with the Frazetta cover. This is a book club. Asterisk on that one. Eye of Cat by Zelazny. I will sell. The Fires of Paratime by Ellie Modisett Jr. Book club. I will sell. Beautiful copy of Thorns by Silverberg. One of his most famous books. I'm keeping. Jewel in the Skull, Michael Moorcock. Keeping for sure. I now have this whole series. Night Walk by Bob Shaw. Love the cover. That might be a Frazetta, actually. Pretty sure that is a Frazetta. There's no artist credit. Jurgen by Cabell, his most famous book. Keeping. Silver Stallion by Cabell. Keeping. Better Than Life, Red Dwarf. I'm nostalgic for Red Dwarf for the TV show because I used to collect the VHS tapes as a kid and they were hard to come by in California. I had to buy them from shady vendors at Comic-Con back when there were shady vendors at Comic-Con. Less nostalgic for the books, which I've never read, so I'm going to sell them. Great vintage copy of Around the World in 80 Days by Jules Verne. Very pretty edition, but obviously not a hard book to find. I will sell it. Titan's Daughter by James Blish. I have a copy of this with the big fat Blish and like the gradiated font that I really love, so I'm going to sell that one. Accession by Ian M. Banks, the Withdrawn Library Mass Market Edition, I will sell. Stormbringer by Michael Moorcock. I think this will be redundant with possibly 2 other copies of it, but I just can't sell Elric books. Not the individual books. I've sold the omnibuses a bunch, but no, I'm keeping that one. Moon of Three Rings by Andre Norton. I remember this having a Dying Earth premise that sounded cool. I will sell. Book of Skulls by Silverberg. For sure, 100% keeping that one. The Wind Wails of Ishmael. I sent my original copy to Moyd way back, if anybody remembers. The testicle cover, and that one is mine, keeping it. Today We Choose Faces by Zelazny in the UK. Because it is a UK edition, I think I will keep that because I like the UK paperbacks. For Love of Mother Not by Alan Dean Foster. This is the first of the Pip and Flinks books. I will sell it. The Narrow Land by Jack Vance with the Wayne Barlow cover. I forgot about this. This is a hard keep. Barlow is my favorite artist. That is super special. Yeah, keeping that one. A Torrent of Faces by Blish and Norman Knight. This is also from that Salvation Army haul where I found someone's... It was the first time I had found someone's discarded science fiction collection at a thrift store. And that's what gave me the old dopamine drip to become a collector. So I'm going to keep those. I think this was also in there, Barnard's Planet by John Boyd. That is certainly not a common book. It's got a great cover. I don't really know anything about John Boyd, but I'll keep that one. The 10th Planet by Edmund Cooper, UK paperback. I don't think I'm ever going to read this unless I randomly roll it, which is kind of out of the picture now. So I'm going to sell that one. Stargate by Stephen Robinette. Great cover. I have it for the cover. Going to sell it. Van Vogt, Supermind in the DAW. I'm going to sell. Starburst by Alfred Bester. I keep this. This is what I meant by the Blish font. Same haul that I got Day of Judgment from, or Day After Judgment by Blish, which was the first full Blish book that I read. And I always wanted to get to this one because it has the same font. Keeping that one for sure. Ring Around the Sun by Simak. I'll sell this one. Why Call Them Back from Heaven by Simak with a great cover. Keep that one. Ragged Astronauts by Bob Shaw in a UK paperback from Orbit. Always wanted to get around to this one. And I hear it's really wonderful, so I'm going to keep that one. Always thought this was one of the more beautiful covers that I owned. The Disaster Area by Ballard. This is a short story collection. Keeping that one for sure. Time Out of Joint by PKD. I am keeping. The Marching Morons, a collection from C.M. Kornbluth. I'm keeping. I remain very attached to Kornbluth. Out of all the people that I've read, he's really, really stuck with me a long time. Even though I've only read one collection from him. The Doom That Came to Sarnath by Lovecraft. I will sell this one. Earth's Other Shadow, Silverberg, vintage. I will keep. Getting Into Death and Other Stories by Thomas Dish. Absolute keep. Another Kornbluth collection. The Explorers. Keeping it. The Black Sun, Jack Williamson. Don't see this one very much. I will sell it though. Ice Rigger, Alan Dean Foster, one of his most celebrated original works. I will sell it. The Songs of Distant Earth by Clark. Book Club edition. I will sell. The World and Thorin by Damon Knight. Amazing cover, and he looks like Ginsberg. I'm going to keep that one. I really like Damon Knight a whole lot. Trumps of Doom by Zelazny. Believe that is an amber book. Yep, it says it right there. Book club. I will sell. Withdrawn library edition of Gripping Hand, the sequel to Mode in God's Eye. I will sell. Dr. Mirabilis by James Blish. Another rare book. This was a gift from, once again, Bob's Books. Extremely generous. Thank you, Bob. I wanted to get to this before I moved, but it is too long. I ran out of time. 100% keeping this. Same goes for this, Black Easter by James Blish. Hard to get book. Absolutely keeping. And there's my copy of Day After Judgment. A great book about the apocalypse that I read while trapped in a chair because I threw my neck out and I was in excruciating pain reading about hell spilling over. It was just great. Perfect. Best of Steel Moore. Keeping. The Red Magician by Lisa Goldstein and The Timescape. Selling that. Giles Goat Boy by John Barth. What a great cover. I'm going to sell it. The Best of Asimov, UK paperback. Selling. Night of Light by Philip Jose Farmer, paperback. Selling. The Werewolf Principle by Simak. I'll sell it. The Brave Free Man by Jack Vance. Second in the Durden series. I will probably sell this because I think I do have a copy of this. Do I know that? I don't know. I'm going to hang on to it just in case. Oh, Master Caliban by Phyllis Gottlieb. This is from that Salvation Army haul. I tried reading this. It wasn't very good, but I just love the cover. And it's really not a common book, so I'm going to sell that one. Or keep that one, rather. Return of the King by Tolkien. I'm going to sell this along with the matching Two Towers. Virtual Light by Gibson. Going to sell. Tangents by Greg Bear. I'm going to sell because I have a signed hard copy of this book. Jewels of Aptor by Delaney. His first novel I am keeping. Dinosaur Beach by Keith Laumer. I'm going to keep. This is supposed to be very good. The Dragon in the Sea by Frank Herbert. I'm probably going to sell with an asterisk. I want to double check, make sure that that's not super rare. The Best of Elsprague de Camp. I'm going to sell. Fountains of Paradise by Clark. I will sell. West of Eden by Harry Harrison in the UK paperback. I'll keep it. My Name is Legion by Zelazny. I will sell. Zelazny's Alien Speedway and Clipsis by Jeffrey Carver. I guess it's 2 books. I will sell. Unicorn Variations. Selling. Vintage copy of The Dispossessed and the finest cover that there is. Keeping that one. Infinity Welcomes Careful Drivers and Last Human. Red Dwarf. I'm probably going to sell all 3 of those, including the first one altogether. Dragon and the George by Gordon R. Dixon. It was in really good shape, and then the bottom kind of got a little smashed because it was sitting vertically with a bunch of books piled on top of it. That's why the Sci-Fireplace, all that like grouting got, taken out. I'm going to hang on to this one, actually. 4 for Tomorrow, Zelazny, short stories, presumably. I will sell. The Chrysalids by Wyndham, UK paperback. I want to read it, but I'm going to sell that copy. Maelstrom by Watts, sequel to Starfish. I will sell. I do want to read that one. Hardcover of Footfall by Niven and Purnell. I think this is a book club. It's in really nice shape. I'm going to sell that one. 3 to Dorsai by Dixon. I've owned and sold this book 3 times now. So I'm going to sell it. Keep the cycle of violence going. The Water Knife by Paolo Bacigalupi. I'm going to sell. Virgin Planet by Paul Anderson. I am going to keep. Deus Irae by Philip K. Dick and Zelazny. I'm going to keep. Pandora's Planet by Christopher Anvil. I will sell. Firefly by Piers Anthony. Supposed to be the worst book ever written. I'm going to sell it. Dark Piper by Andre Norton. Gonna sell. This great vintage copy of Inverted World by Priest in the UK. For some reason, I never got around to this, even though it was like the top of my mental list to read. I just never got to it, so I'm gonna keep that one. My copy of Dream Master by Zelazny, absolutely keeping. A Medicine for Melancholy by Bradbury. I'm gonna sell. The Worlds of Theodore Sturgeon. God, that's got a great cover. Look at that cover. I have to keep that one. The Exile Waiting, Vonda McIntyre. I will sell. Hellstrom's Hive by Herbert. Of all the non-Dune Herberts, this is the one that I want to read the most. So I'm going to keep that one. It's not very common either. You can't get those for less than like 15, 20 bucks. Creatures of Light and Darkness by Zelazny. I don't think that's an Amber. I think that's a standalone. I'm going to sell that. Computer World, Van Vogt. Selling. Doom Time by Doris Piserchia. The War of the World Trees. For some reason, I always had this, again, at the forefront of my mind as one to read, because the synopsis sounds completely nuts and people really like it. But I never got to it, so I'm going to keep that one. Whipping Star by Herbert. I also have The Saudi Experiment, which is the sequel to this. I think I'm going to keep both of them, probably, because I don't think that they're very easy to find. The Pirate of World's End by Lynn Carter. I think that's a Dying Earth book. I think it's part of a series. I'm probably going to sell that one. Fifth book of the Gondwain epic. Yeah, I'm going to sell that one. Castle View by Gene Wolfe. I'm keeping that. Wolfes are just hard to come by typically. New Dreams This Morning. This was, I think, the second book review I ever did. Extremely critical book for book-pilled lore. This is probably the one that got me addicted to reading books as a means to procrastinate on doing my proper work. So this helped give me the bug. I'm going to keep that one forever. Cosmic Kaleidoscope by Bob Shaw, an all-timer cover as well. That's a short story collection. Keeping that one absolutely. Masks of Time by Silverberg. Great vintage copy. Keeping. Cemetery World by Simak. Absolutely keeping. This is one of the books that made me fall in love with vintage science fiction covers. Great title as well. I really want to read it. To Die in Talbur by Zelazny. I will sell. The Weapon Makers by Van Vogt. Important book. I think I have Weapon Makers in a collection somewhere, or an anthology rather. But I'm going to keep that one because that's an important book. Earthlight by Clark. I will sell. On My Way to Paradise by Dave Wolverton. Reviewed this on the channel. Pretty good. I'm going to hang on to that. A Spell for Chameleon by Piers Anthony. The first Xanth in the vintage. I will sell that. Vor by James Blish. Keeping. The Best of Lester Del Rey. I will sell. Best of Frederick Brown. I'm going to keep that one both because the cover is cool and because I had one commenter tell me emphatically that I would love Frederick Brown. I think he said that in reference to Kornbluth, but I don't remember. So I'm going to hang on to that one. Collision Course by Silverberg. Keeping it. Gardens of the Moon with a slightly not very common cover. I'm going to sell that. Destiny Doll, another all-timer cover. Keeping. The Jesus Incident by Herbert and Ransom. I had Bill Ransom as a professor in college. Cool story, bro. I'm going to sell it. Frost and Fire by Zelazny. I'm going to sell. The final three. Hardcover omnibus of Gormenghast. Very important fantasy series that I'm absolutely keeping. Falling Free in hardcover by Bujold. I am going to sell. And this actually makes me happy that we end the Sci-Fireplace on Echopraxia by Peter Watts, the sequel to Blind Sight, that I still have never finished. So I'm going to keep that because I did find that at a Goodwill, which is an insane windfall, $5.99. I'm going to hang on to it. And that does it. That does her for the Sci-Fireplace. There it is. There she goes. This may be a bummer, and I appreciate it bumming you out. That means that this channel means something to you, which means something to me. And the Sci-Fireplace definitely meant something to me. But we are moving on to bigger and better things, and I'm going to be living, I think, a much better life than I have been here. Not that I have things real tough. Thanks for watching, and thanks for hanging out with me in front of the Sci-Fireplace all these times, and I'm glad we could do it.